Reimagining Success, episode 232. You're listening to the Reimagining Success podcast, where we help you design a business and a life that allows you freedom from the 9 to 5. I'm your host, Anna Lundberg, ex-corporate good girl, now a business mentor and coach, author, mum of 2, and I'm here to help you create more freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment. Now let's get started with redefining success outside of the 9 to 5. Hello there, I have a slightly different episode for you this week because it's the audio from a live I did in my Facebook group recently, but I know that some of you don't like being on Facebook, and so I wanted to make sure that you got the value from this session as well. So I'm walking you through what I call your roadmap to building a successful expert business, and specifically the 3 stages of the journey. So I won't share any more because you'll get all the detail in the session in just a moment. It's a 30-minute session. Apologies, obviously, as you listen, there will be a bit of chat, just a couple of minutes at the beginning and throughout, where I'm asking you to comment in the chat. Now, obviously, you can't do that listening to the podcast, but what you can do is email me podcast@onestepoutside.com to let me know if you're stage 1, 2, or 3. That'll help me help you as well. And of course, you can rather message me on Instagram. I'm Anna S.E. Lundberg. So that's Sophia Elizabeth, if you'd like to know. So Anna S.E. Lundberg on Instagram. You can find me LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you do spend your time. Or again, that email podcast@onestepoutside.com. So without further ado, here is the 30-minute session from my recent live on the 3 stages of building your successful expert business. See you on the other side. Hello, we're here. We're live in the Facebook group, hopefully. If you are watching, do say hello and let me know in the comments. I know that as these things go, a lot of you were watching the recording, but I will be picking up comments and questions throughout the day, throughout the week. So do please interact as if it were live. Really good to see you here. I'm really excited about this session. It's not going to be an hour. It'll be probably max half an hour today. It's some of my latest thinking that gives you more granularity in terms of where you are on the journey of creating your business and the specific challenges you'll have, as well as the specific strategies that you need to be following at each of those stages. So really good to see you here today. Excited to get going, and hopefully more to come on this topic in the coming weeks and months as well. So first of all, those of you who are new to the community, hello and welcome. I hope you find value in the content and community here, and perhaps also coaching with me in the future if and when you're ready. Who am I? Well, I'm a business mentor and brand strategist. I'm a certified coach, and I used to work at Procter & Gamble. In fact, I quit there 10 years ago this year. So quite a bit of things have happened since then, and that's what I'm bringing to the table in this business that I now have. So I'm the founder of One Step Outside. That's my business. Host of the Reimagining Success podcast that I've been doing now for over 4 years. So plenty of episodes to get stuck into. And I'm also the author of Leaving the Corporate 9 to 5. And most recently, the one I'm most proud of is Outside of the 9 to 5, which I have here, of course. Here we go. I know some of you already have this. If you are reading it, do please let me know how you're getting on. I'd love a review on Amazon. I know it'll take time. We're all super busy, but I hope you're finding value in that book as well. So as I said, I quit my job in 2013, my corporate marketing job, and I've been navigating the twists and turns, the ups and downs ever since, both in terms of the business, things that have evolved over the years. So I initially started as a digital marketing consultant. I discovered coaching. I was working with luxury corporate FMCG companies, and then I started working with startups and entrepreneurs. And I've added coaching in and positive psychology and so on. So as you can imagine, the business has and will continue to evolve over the coming years, but also from a personal standpoint. I was a young'un in those days. I think I left, it was my 30th birthday, just turned 30. And of course, that means I've just turned 40. And so exciting things to come, I'm sure. And for me at the time, I was single and carefree. Now, not so much on either of those. I have a partner. I have 2 little children, Sophia, who's turning 4 in a few months, and Zach, who is 2.5 and follows her around everywhere she goes. We've moved down to the coast. We're building what I'm hoping is going to be pretty much our dream house down by the sea here. So personal and professional twists and turns along the way. Now, what kind of a business are we talking about here? Unfortunately, I haven't come up with a catchy, branded, ownable name. So if anyone has any ideas, I'd love to hear them. But we are talking about a profitable and enjoyable business, and that's really important. I always talk about the 3 Fs, right? It gives you more freedom, flexibility, fulfillment. And most importantly, we get all this without sacrificing our health and well-being, mental, physical, emotional, time with our family, whether that's young children or partners or aging parents or whatever that looks like, hobbies, interests, sanity, community, whatever else matters to you. And so, not so catchy, as I said, but it's a lifestyle business. You're probably a solopreneur, you're an expert, most likely a coach, consultant, speaker, trainer, author. What it isn't is selling physical products. So although my marketing expertise, my marketing background at Procter & Gamble was in product development, so I did luxury beauty products, perfume, skincare and makeup, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a service-based business, and we're also not doing the MLM thing. Parking that for now, that's not something we're interested in this particular, that's not my area of expertise, let's say. We're also not looking at VC funding. This is a bootstrapped business, you might call it. There are no high startup costs. That's the benefit of this kind of business in terms of transitioning out of corporate, and the profit margins are pretty high. So this is good news. You're not going to need a big team. And there, if you look behind my head there, it says you're not going to require thousands of followers. So if you look at my channels, I've got 10,000 followers on LinkedIn. That's probably the biggest. 2,000 or so on Instagram, 1,000 on Facebook, and people kind of come and go, and I'm still able to run my business, right? So we don't need to be that huge influencer. So if this all sounds good to you, if this is what you're working on or hoping to work on, then you're in the right place. Now, as I said, I've been sharing, as you can imagine, for many years. And if you're familiar with my material, you will have seen me talk about the 5 pillars of building a life and a business outside the 9 to 5. And those pillars are really the consolidation of what I've learned in my own business, what I've learned through working with my clients over the years, which of course is a lot more experience than I had when I started with my first couple of clients in 2014, 2015. Those 5 pillars are: the first is defining success for you in a personal and meaningful way, so getting clear on what you want. The second one is cultivating confidence and resilience to deal with those inevitable ups and downs and to become this independent business owner, having that CEO mindset, as some people talk about. 3 is choosing the right business model, and that's true whether you're just starting out and thinking about starting a business, or if you're further along and you need to pivot, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Building an effective personal brand, it's very different, take it from my experience, to market a product and someone else's brand than it is to market yourself. But it can be completely comfortable. It's not sleazy. I've got a podcast episode on ethical marketing coming up, so keep an eye out for that. And finally, designing what I call flexible work-life integration. So I don't like the idea of work-life balance. I think it sort of pits work versus life, and really it's more of an integrated, harmonious life that we're striving for, right? Of course, we'll never quite get that balance right. And again, it will evolve over time. But we're talking about designing a business that's going to feel harmonious. You're going to be your authentic self at work and at home, and with boundaries, you are going to be able to run that business and your life as you want to. However, I've been sharing this for a long time, and the truth is this is such a powerful tool and framework to use, whether you're just designing the initial first strategy from a blank sheet of paper, you're still in your corporate job, or, as I am, you're 10 years in. But when I talk about this, it's very hard for me to speak to all the different levels, right? Even though the framework is relevant for all of us, it's important that it really feels like it's resonating with you. So I wanted more granularity on these different pillars to make sure you know what you need to be doing depending on where you are in your business. The second framework that came out of my business accelerator some years ago, initially it's in the book, of course, in the academy and so on, are the 5 categories of business tasks. Again, no sexy name for this one, so any suggestions very welcome. And I talk about the importance of doing things that are driving your income, your revenue, visibility, service, i.e. actually the work that you're doing for your clients, operations, which is the behind the scenes, website, accounting, and so on, and then your legacy, which for me is writing a book, doing a TED Talk, launching a podcast. It's that bigger piece that isn't necessarily driving income right away, but is something that really is connected to your purpose, right? So people always ask me, my clients always ask me, how much should I spend? What's the percentage on each of these? And it's hard to say an exact number, but I want to give a bit more granularity again, depending on where you are in your business. And so the framework we're looking at today are the 3 stages of building this expert lifestyle solopreneur business, right? The first one is discovery and validation. So this is when you're really starting out, you're still in your corporate job, you're thinking about it, you've kind of made the decision, you're dipping your toes, up to when you've actually established that business, in the sense of, you know what you want to do, the client target, the business model, and so on. You've got your first couple of clients, maybe. That's the end of that stage, right? Stage 2 then, and that's the tricky one where we tend to get stuck, is to move from a couple of clients here and there to a consistent, streamlined, automated, whatever you want to call it, repeatable system of getting those clients coming into you and having a consistent revenue. And then stage 3, you've got a successful business in the sense of you've got your clients, you've got your income coming in and so on, you're doing an amazing job. And yet maybe you're not quite experiencing the lifestyle freedom that you wanted when you started. You don't have as much time as you wanted for family and so on. Maybe you're feeling a bit resentful about a couple of the clients or projects you're working on. And this is when we need to, again, pivot a little bit, rethink the business model and look at how you can elevate your brand and really get to that next level of results. So I want to work through these 3 stages with you today. The first one, and what I'd love to ask you is, do, again, if you're watching the replay, comment 1 if you're in stage 1. And then we can always have a chat about what the next step would be for you. But stage 1 is discovery validation. Your goal here is to decide on a business, to commit to doing this, and to get those foundations in place. So let's look at some of those strategic priorities. You're going to be getting clear on your vision for your life and business. This is really pillar 1, your definition of success. It's where we do all our exercises around your values, your purpose, your ikigai, your lifeline, all these things, in terms of understanding what's important to you from that big picture. You're going to be working on your confidence because, again, being an independent expert, selling yourself, putting yourself out there, claiming, saying I'm a coach or whatever it is, I'm an expert in this, takes a lot of confidence and courage. And that's something we need to work on. It's very different to being an employee, to ask people to pay you for something, right? Even though people have been paying you 100 plus K before. Clarify what you're going to offer that people will pay for. That's an important caveat there. So really, okay, you've got these different client targets you're thinking about, do I do group calls, one-to-one, all those different questions, how are you going to deliver and so on. Start building an audience, but let's be honest, most of your initial clients will come from those first people that you know. So people in your community, maybe via your coaching, training, or former corporate clients and so on. And I'm about to, and I have been, reaching out to my past corporate network. So that can be hugely valuable in the future too. But all my initial consulting contracts came from my network. I had very in-demand digital skills. And so luckily I was very welcome to come in and do consulting work with former colleagues from my corporate time. And then, of course, you'll be setting up your business basics. So getting a website in place, navigation, what are you going to do? How are you going to take payment? Because people need to be able to pay you. Email marketing, how are you going to legally collect emails, all these things, right? So that's really stage 1. And I know a lot of you are way past this stage. Some of you perhaps are still kind of dabbling here, right? And that's okay. You are where you should be now, but I imagine you want to then get to the next stage. And a few of the things to think about here when it comes to the different categories, right? In this stage, I'm assuming that you have a full or part-time job that is paying the bills. So that's why this phase takes so long, right? Because maybe you have 1 day a week. I had a client had 1 day a week, or in fact, you have no full days a week apart from maybe weekends and so on. And you've got your day job and you're trying to build this business alongside. If that is your situation, then your priority here has to be visibility. Because you've got the income, right? You've got the day job paying your bills. So right now, it's more about getting the clarity on your business model, beginning that networking, getting the community in place, talking to people, building your confidence and so on, getting yourself out there to begin to talk about the business that you're building. You're not right away going to be desperately trying to get income in, unless, and that's the little caveat, I suppose, you're burning out in your day job, you're facing redundancy and you need to generate money, right? Then I would suggest that you really focus, of course, on income before you think about all the fancy things in terms of legacy and visibility and so on, right? You need to be very pragmatic in the short term so that you can be more idealistic in the long term. So visibility really is the focus here, unless you really have to focus on income because you don't have that stable corporate job. A few pitfalls, though, that can get you stuck here, right? And ironically, there's 2 extremes. One is you're so impatient, you're so energetic and enthusiastic, and you so want to dive into getting this business up and running, that you kind of jump on the first idea that you have. And I had a client who came to me in a program a few years ago, and she knew what business she wanted to set up, but actually through the work with me, she realized, oh, that was just what I thought I should do because it's something I could do, but it wasn't something I really wanted to do. So you don't want to now, and let's face it, business is always going to be a lot of work now setting up this new business. You don't want to be rushing into something that isn't going to be profitable, enjoyable, all these things, right? Freedom, flexibility, fulfillment. So rushing into action, focusing on the wrong things, overthinking and procrastinating. We've all been there. We're spinning our wheels. We're doing another course. We're following another guru, whatever it is. If I just do this one more certification, or I just need to do this, and I need to learn this thing, whatever it is, before, or even it's something personal. I'll do it after the kids are back from holiday, or I'll do it next year. I'll do it when I've got the promotion, etc., etc. And again, in all of these, we're focusing on the wrong things. So maybe we're too internally focused. We have to be internally focused when we first develop our business idea and decide on what we want to do. But then we need to start looking outside. What do people want? How can I have conversations with people? How can I start actually building and selling this, right? So you may then end up getting stuck in that first phase. You've kind of got the business, but you're spending so much time tweaking your website and your copy. And is this the target? Is that the target? And so on. You're not actually moving to getting that consistent revenue, right? If this is you, of course, the best resource, I think, is to grab my book, Outside the 9 to 5. You can search Outside of the 9 to 5 on your local Amazon. It's on paperback and Kindle right now. The second thing to consider is basically the course version of the book. So if you go to onestepoutside.com/course, you can read about the Business Academy. It's a self-paced course, but I've added now live office hours, so you can join me live, ask any questions. This is really giving you the knowledge, the framework of the 5 pillars, as I said, from getting super clear on what you want through to your confidence, resilience, the business model, marketing, personal brand, and your priorities and work-life integration. And then implementing that is what's going to take you to stage 2 and to take you to that consistent revenue, right? But at this stage, it's getting that knowledge, it's learning the frameworks, making sure you're focusing on the right things. And that's what you'll do in the academy. So again, comment 1 if that's you. And of course, let me know if you have any questions about the academy as well. Now, stage 2, again, it can be easy to get stuck here, right? Because we've kind of got the basics and we think, hey, we're business owners now. But again, I take it from experience, I was sort of playing business owner in name only, because actually behind the scenes, I wasn't getting the clients. And that could be you throughout, because maybe when you're pivoting, you had, when I left, in fact, a few moments, but one moment in particular, when I left my corporate consulting, my hugely lucrative consulting suddenly dried up and I only had my coaching, right? And every time you make a little shift, if I say no to that corporate work, then suddenly I don't have that income coming in again. So I sort of go back to stage 1 almost each time I make a pivot. So this is about refining the strategy now. With a bit more experience, we want to be honing in on what works and then to actually earn consistently. And whether that's replacing your full salary or maybe it's something a little bit less for now, or even if it's a bigger goal for you, that's what we're doing here. We're consolidating and growing your business. So strategic priorities in stage 2. And again, comment 2 below if this is you. You want to be getting more specific. So before we were looking at our big values and purpose, vision for the life and business we want to have. Now, okay, we need to look, given what I've learned about myself these last few months, maybe given what I've learned in the book or the academy, these are the things I should really be focusing on for the next quarter, the next 90 days, for this next year, to get myself actually to earning 60K, 80K, 100K, whatever your target is in the business. This is when it's going to get tough, because early on, you've got that excitement, the beginning of the roller coaster. It's a little bit scary, but it's so exciting. It's enthusiastic and you're getting traction. You get this contract here, you get that client, you think, oh my gosh, it's working. It's amazing. I'm on fire. I'm going to be the next whatever. And then suddenly it all dries up and there's nothing coming in for a while. And that's when you need an iron bum. I don't know, is that an expression? You need to really have nerves of steel is maybe a better expression, and have the community around you, the support, the accountability to cheer you on and to help you actually stick with your plans to allow them to come to fruition, right? This is when, in my case, I'd done quite a bit of one-to-one coaching. I was able then to create a group offer based on the patterns I saw that people needed help with their vision, with their mindset, with their goals, and so on. That's going to leverage your time a little bit better. So you've got some proven results, testimonials, and so on. Now you can go a little bit bigger. You're, of course, going to be continuing to boost your visibility, and in particular now expanding your circle to get in front of new people. And then now, again, because you have this experience, because hopefully you know what you're doing and you're working with the right people so that you're getting the right guidance, you're going to get super clear on your priorities and start implementing consistently to get those consistent results. Sounds simple, right? Again, a few things to think about in terms of the categories of tasks. Again, any branding help, welcome there for telling me what to call this framework. Previously, we were looking at visibility, rather, Freudian slip, not invisibility. We want notoriety, we want fame, or at least we want visibility with the right people. Now is when we actually need to be shifting to income. So maybe you've gone time down in your role. Maybe you've even, as I did, taken a leap out of your corporate job. You want to be adding real strategic focus on income, right, to bring in those clients. So visibility and income, and you have more clients now, so you're going to be focusing on service as well. So those bottom three are really the ones you want to be focusing on in stage 2. Some pitfalls though. In stage 1, especially as a coach, not so much as a consultant, although it would still be, pricing is still an issue. As a coach, we're starting out offering for free, right? And then we might go, $50. We're very tentative with our pricing. And if you stay there, that's not going to ladder up. You can do the maths, I promise you, it's not going to get you to your income goals, and you're really underselling yourself. The other thing is, again, following all these different coaches. And again, I did it. It's amazing. When I first started out, my goodness, there was so much free advice. You could follow these videos and webinars, and courses and masterclasses and so on. But you end up with a patchwork strategy. If I'm trying to do webinars like this person, I'm trying to, write books like that person and do Facebook ads like that person, I can't afford time or money to focus on all these different strategies. So I kind of need to focus in, okay, really specifically, my goal right now is to grow this type of business to this level. Who would be the best person? What would be the best strategies to get me there? What are the actual actions that are going to create momentum, create movement in the business, and not just have me sitting here at home sort of playing at being a business owner again, doing the busy work and not the scary work. And if we're just kind of doing an ad hoc process, now look, I'm not the best at tracking. We of course track our results. I'm not the most structured person. I'm more of a visionary, strategic, big picture person. But if I don't know where my clients are coming from, if, for example, in my case, a lot of them in the past were coming from this Facebook group, to be honest, less so today, LinkedIn, maybe from my book now, podcasts that I've been on, articles I've written. And if I can find that one article, and I've got one or two that a lot of people come to me from personal branding, and one about quitting my job, although that was now 10 years ago, so I need to update that one. I know that they're coming from there. So, okay, what could I do? Well, I could really leverage that piece of content, but I could also write more content on that kind of theme on those types of platforms. Or if I know that people come from LinkedIn, obviously LinkedIn is a great place to focus rather than faffing about with reels and so on Instagram. Although Instagram could also be an important part of the strategy. You can see how you can get distracted in all the different areas, right? So one repeatable process, I know that this is my main channel, at least for the next 3 months. This is the channel, this is the message, this is the program, and focus on that again until you get those clients in, right? If you're in stage 2, again, comment stage below. I'm still going to recommend my book, because if you're at this stage, there's still so much in the book. And in fact, again, for any stage, I think I could still apply some things in there. And outside the 9 to 5, search on your local Amazon, Kindle and paperback. But you also have then the incubator. Now, a little aside for those of you who have either been in the incubator in the past or at least have been sort of reading about it, I've done a little tweak in that we have the academy first, which we had before. I'm adding the live element to the academy, and then we have the incubator. The incubator just extending a little bit, because before the incubator was basically focused on taking you through what is now the academy. What I want to do now in the incubator is something a little bit different, knowing, thanks to these last 10 years, that it is implementation, tailored support, accountability that you need, and not more knowledge, right? The incubator is going to focus on that. So we're going to do 90-day sort of sprints in terms of getting the results to get you to that consistent revenue. So if that's you, even if you have worked on some of the foundations before and so on, if you're not yet earning consistently, this is the place to be, because that's where we're going to be focused single-mindedly on building the business that you now have designed and mapped out and bringing that to life. So again, if you're still in your full-time job, if you're kind of part-time, or you've started transitioning, but you now really need to make this work and not just be a hobby, that's the program for you. So you can go to onestepoutsidecom/9 to 5. And then finally, I know that given I've left 10 years ago, I know some of you have been following me if not quite that long, at least since I think I started the group, 2015, 2016 maybe, just before I met Luke, and then how things progressed and so on. So things went off in a different direction for me. But if you've been following me for a long time, your business will have grown and evolved with you as it has for me. So the goal now is to make a bigger impact with less work. So I'm doing a 3-day work week now. I am doing that because the kids are 3 days at nursery. They will be going 4 days, or rather, Zach will be going 4 days, and then Sophia will be starting school, which is then shorter days in September. And yet I also want to be able to do all my tennis and sports and reading and travel and so on, right? So for me, it's about reaching more people. And of course, I've made some trade-offs now. I'm not perhaps growing the business as quickly as I would have wanted to if I had all week to work on, if I was single, etc., etc. But I'm making those choices because that's the kind of business and life I want to lead. So stage 3, we need to start revisiting your vision and remind yourself why you started this business in the first place. Because sometimes, as I did with my corporate consulting, hugely successful, amazing, really interesting work, met great people, earning a lot of money, and I was traveling in between. That was fantastic. However, it wasn't the reason why I'd quit my job. It wasn't the kind of work I want to be doing. And to be honest, if you've ever been a consultant, you come in my case at least, do the same work again and again. And that wasn't quite what I wanted to do. And that's when I discovered the coaching. So really revisiting why you started this business and making sure you're now kind of redirecting along that path. Your mindset becomes so much more important when you're at this higher level too. And now, because you have the income coming in, you can really afford to, literally and metaphorically, prioritize your self-care, meaning, as I do, putting in your runs and strength training, working with a personal trainer, nutritionist. Sleep is a little bit outside of my control, but I'm certainly going to bed early and so on, right? Booking massages, going for walks, whatever it is for you. You can start getting pickier about who you want to work with because you're no longer in that desperate hustle mindset of like, oh, I can't say no to anything because I'm trying to get to this target. You can actually go, sunk cost and rather the opportunity cost of working with this client who isn't a good fit is too high. And I trust that a better client will come in better in the sense of more aligned with my values, maybe paying more interesting, exciting, whatever. This is when you can also, if you haven't already, start boosting your authority, right? Write a book, launch a podcast, develop your own frameworks, trademark them to make them really powerful assets in your business in the future. This is when you're actually going out there and becoming the thought leader. And in front of the relevant audience. I'm not looking to become like a generic kind of Stephen Bartlett and so on, which is good news because I wouldn't know how to get those millions and millions of followers, but I'm looking to build my authority in my own little area of the little corner of the internet. And then finally, this is where you really need to be setting boundaries, personally, professionally, and also, of course, getting more systematic with documenting your processes, outsourcing, delegating, automating with technology, and so on. Now is when we can actually ladder up, right? So we had the visibility initially in stage 1. We were generating the income and, delivering the service in stage 2. We're obviously going to continue those things, stepping up the visibility, stepping up the income, perhaps raising prices and so on, launching different programs, all focusing on the one program, and always looking to deliver a better service to our clients, whether it's companies or individuals. When we're looking now at the systems and processes, we're looking at the back end of operations. So team, if you can call it that, we're not talking about having a big office with lots of employees. We're talking about associates and freelancers, that kind of thing. Website updates and so on, systems, software, tools, and then your legacy. And that's where the book and the podcast and the TED Talk type of keynotes and so on will come in. So that's when we're at stage 3. So you can see how we've laddered on. So we don't have to sort of prioritize all of them from day one. Still a few pitfalls though, and the biggest one is this mindset shift that I've been finding, right? So what got you here won't get you there. What built my successful consulting business wasn't going to work for my coaching. What got my coaching business up and running when I was kind of generic new coach isn't what's going to now get me to the next level I want to get to, right? The money that you've been earning so far, if you're shifting, you're going to be looking at different strategies, different target audiences perhaps, and so on. The danger here is that we've recreated a job. So I've got the employee mindset, the high achiever, working hard, doing the busy work, and I'm not necessarily getting the results. And I'm not thinking of myself as the sort of the owner, laddering up into the strategic priorities I should be focusing on. And ultimately, the risk is burnout, physically, emotionally, mentally, as well as just becoming disillusioned. Like, why on earth did I start this business? That's where all those memes come in. I'm working harder in my business than I was in my job before. For this one, and this is where there's a final tweak to the programs, I've elevated the accelerator, if you will. So the accelerator is now being covered. What used to be the accelerator is now being sucked into the incubator to really make sure people get to that consistent income. The accelerator is going to be for you, if you're at this stage, you've already got your consistent income, at least, 60K, 80K, whatever that looks like in your business a year. And we're going to be looking at those more advanced strategies. And it will include things that aren't so obvious in terms of business, in terms of health and well-being and prioritizing that and getting our energy and so on, right? That's such an important foundation in terms of how we can elevate our brand, develop that authority and the frameworks and the IP and so on. So if you're interested in that will be application only. So you can book a call with me, or just obviously comment 3 below, first of all, to hear that you're in this stage of the journey. Really exciting. And then we'll see if I can support you, or if you'd like for me to support you in the next stage as well. Those are the 3 stages. So again, comment 1, 2, or 3 to let me know which stage you're in. And of course, if you've, one thing that you've learned in terms of the next step that you're going to do, maybe you're stuck in one of those pitfalls that I mentioned and you're looking for support with that next stage. If you are, remember, we've got the book Outside the 9 to 5, paperback and Kindle on Amazon. You've got the Academy as a first stage. If you're right at that beginning of stage 1, even if you're in stage 2 and you haven't worked with me before, I'd really ask you to do the Academy. Self-paced course. I had one client who did it amazingly in a couple of weeks before December. You can just work through it quite quickly in terms of the knowledge, and then you can dive straight into the incubator with me to get the implementation support. So that's stage 2 incubator. And then stage 3, that's when we can accelerate in the mastermind and really elevate the brand, remember why we started the business in the first place, and go to plan the next horizon, 3 to 5 years or more of your business. So I hope that was valuable for you. Again, if you're watching the replay, do let me know. I've been talking at you for half an hour, so unlike my usual masterclasses, it wasn't very interactive, but I wanted to present to you this framework, and I hope it's given you more granularity on where you are and what you need to focus on. As ever, the best thing to do is to book a call with me if you'd like to chat about where you are, where you want to get to, and how I can support you to get there, which of the programs is right for you right now. I hope it's been quite clear, but there you go. In case you want to chat, I'm always happy to hear from my community and hear where I can help you more. So do book a call at onestepoutside.com/call, and I'd love to hear from you. Hope that was useful. Looking forward to your insights and maybe to working with you in the coming weeks and months. Thanks so much. I'll see you soon. Bye for now. The Outside of Business Academy is a self-paced course for you to work through in your own time to learn and implement the foundations of building a profitable business that lets you escape the 9 to 5. So if you're full of great ideas but lack the knowledge and experience to turn them into a viable business that will actually support your desired lifestyle, or you feel like you're doing all the right things and yet you're just not getting the traction and results that you're after, you have come to the right place. I'm here to help you design a profitable and enjoyable business that gives you freedom from the 9 to 5. Register for the Academy and get started learning today at onestepoutside.com/course. That's onestepoutside.com/course.